I don't. I mean, it just seems so long ago. But I remember being in the spot and just freezing, even with two sets of clothes on and with the little bit of blankets that we had. And it's a place I don't want to have to go to again.
I hated myself. I just hated me. I hated Skid Row. I wanted my family back. I didn't want to live like this anymore. I didn't want to shame them. I didn't want to shame myself. I didn't want to shame God.
You know, my father used to tell me years ago, he used to say, David, get to know David. And I think being homeless helped me do that.
You know, looking around, having the, like you said, the feeling here, it reminds me of just kind of like hurt, pain, you know, a little bit of, you know, and I don't know, I just thank God we're not here anymore.
Right here on this bench, I have me a big old bag of peanuts and a couple of beers, sit back, watch the trains go by. I used to live in Baldwin Hills in View Park. You know, I used to drive a BMW. Nice home, nice cars and everything, and would never thought in a million years that I would be homeless. And a lot of folks really don't even, still today, don't know what all I've been through. Because I'm a guy that usually goes around smiling, has something nice to say, and with a good attitude. What few clothes I did have, I made sure they stayed clean, and, you know, walked around as if I had a mansion. This is Levert, this is Conrad. Levert I lost back in 2013. My son was murdered, my oldest son. And when he was murdered, that was my last day of working. I kind of went through a serious depression then, trying to keep everything together. And it seemed like everybody kind of disappeared. It was really hard to even reach out and let folks know, like, whoa, I've hit rock bottom. Because when I first got a bed to sleep in, people don't realize that's just awesome to sleep in a bed. If you know, go a while without a bed, that's a big deal. With clean sheets and a nice mattress, it's a huge deal. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of help. You know, some people I think would be helped just to have the right person to talk to. No bills.
We liked the spot because we could go over to the Salvation Army. They had clothes there, and we would lay down the clothes, and we found a piece of cardboard, and we laid down a piece of cardboard, and it was like a mattress. But it was cold. I started working when I was 14 years old, and I put myself through college, and I put myself through law school, and I worked the whole time that I was in law school. And I just didn't understand how somebody could stand on a street corner and not be working. You know, my attitude before I became homeless was, how could you be homeless? And my attitude after I became homeless was, now I understand and I get it. It just doesn't occur to you that you're homeless and you can do something about it. You get kind of caught up in the fact that this is my life, this is where I've ended up. It's never going to get any better. But in November of 2005, I got into Tarzana Treatment Center, and I got clean and sober for good, at least up through now. So I have 10 years clean and sober now, and I have a beautiful house in Santa Clarita. I'm blessed. I have a job again. I have a relationship with my daughter, which is very important to me. And life is good, and it's all because I had the chance to get off the streets. I'm a firm believer in supportive housing. I believe that the key to homelessness and solving homelessness is to provide places for people to live.
You know, when I think about it, it was such a different world for me for what I grew up in. Going out here and living the thug life was like living a movie because I always wanted to be an actress. We were living in Belmont Shores by the ocean in a 5-bedroom home, mansion on the beach, driving a Jaguar, just living the good old life. I started doing the cocaine recreationally. And then somebody introduced me to crack cocaine, and that's where my downfall started. I had to support my habit, so I started hanging out with dope dealers and prostituting. And that's how I got my drugs. So I kind of fit in. Everybody just really liked me. They just called me Row Barbie and then Ghetto Barbie. Hey, OG, how are you? That man's been sitting on that crate for, I don't know, 15 years. A lot of us don't want to be here. We don't want to repeat this same thing. When we're serious about getting sober, we're serious about getting sober. But it's like drowning. If someone hadn't thrown me a life raft, I don't know where I would be. My quality of life today is better than it's ever been because I've taken this tragedy and God's turned it into a triumph. I'm able to help others. I'm able to understand a little bit more about addiction. So I want to help people to have that chance too, if they want it, because it's possible. Look at me. It happened to me. This happened to me. I was one of these people that you see walking down the streets. And that was the best feeling in my life, is having my own house, locking my own door. Getting junk mail was so cool. You know how everybody hates junk mail? I loved it.
We would park in the parking lot, and then in the morning the kids would go to school, and then I go to work and back to the parking lot. From the parking lot back to school, from the parking lot, just back and forth, back and forth. The kids couldn't even focus on their work. They couldn't even do anything because they were constantly exhausted.
It makes me feel really sad, lonely, and I will never forget the times that she would cry. She would cry and say, when are we gonna get our house? She was hungry, not be able to feed her. Feed none of them. They'd be really, really hot. They'd be really thirsty. That was no way to live, you know, and it made me feel even worse because it's like there was nothing possible that I could do to get us out of this situation. And to them to know, like, to think that living like this is okay, and it wasn't.
For the kids, yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard to see that, and it's hard to see that they struggle on certain things. And you say, okay, you know, this is what you have to do, or this is what they need, or hopefully this is what they need, and just try to guide.
Well, I used to be uncomfortable when I used to tell my mom that I'm hungry and when they didn't have no money, and I always felt sad when I told them that. I didn't like it when we were living in the car.
We have our ups and downs, you know, but it's good now, you know, and thank God that we're here alive today with our kids. We didn't get them taken away, and we're clean and sober. We have our beautiful home, you know, our case manager that backs us up.
Yeah,
that is, you know,
people that
supportive.
care about us, that want to be in our lives, and that feels so good.
Yes.
You know.
We're not going to be there for every step, obviously, right? Because they got to figure out some stuff on their own. But you just don't put someone in a house and walk away. That's not the point. You're going to see them all the way through.